All right. So I was asked because right now we're in a bit of a lull for content, and a lot of people are hitting their caps for their wild fragments, and are the first thing to do with your wild fragments, I just want to say, is make sure you two-star all your champions first. That's the most important thing. You want to save your three-starring until the end because you don't want to be getting redundant fragments. You don't want to be getting fragments on champs you've already three-starred because they will be converted to wild fragments at a rate of 5 to 1. So you're going to lose a lot of fragments when you hit champion fragments for a champion that you already have three-starred. But eventually, you will get to my situation, which is I now have all the champions unlocked and two-starred, and I'm getting close to the 50 again. So I need to three-star some champions. So which champions are the most important to three-star? So we'll talk about that because it's actually a really important decision, especially if you want to take monthlies like seriously. So I'm going to be talking about it from two perspectives. So one is for general champion power, and that kind of reflects on Aurelion Soul, your weeklies, and all your other runs. And then also for the monthly challenges, champions that are really good at 3 stars. And they are a different list, and I'll explain why. It has to do with the fact that in monthly challenges, you want a roster that has a significant toolkit. So basically, you don't necessarily just need big, strong Unga Bunga champions. Three-starring Jinx is fine and all, but she isn't really kind of a toolbox champion. She's just a brute force champion. But in the monthly challenges, you actually do need some specific champions for specific mutators, and having them three-starred is actually really, really, really helpful for some of these champions. Okay, sorry. I just need to make sure that you guys can see what I can see. Okay, yeah, so what I need to do is change my video capture to, I think, this. Yes, alright. Alright, so I'm gonna open up my champion tier list for late game content. So I have this on the Google Docs, and there is a link. There should be a link on it in my under my Twitch. I'll make sure I'll put it on the YouTube description as well. This is kind of the champions that I recommend unlocking and leveling specifically for all late game content. So I guess not specifically. So that includes Aurelion Soul plus monthly challenges. This is a pretty good list for Aurelion Soul. Like if you're looking for the 5 regions that you want to get the Aurelion Soul prizes, you can just use this list, and that should be totally fine. This is pretty good in order for Aurelion Soul, but it's not necessarily the best for monthly challenges. There are a few that are very important for toolboxing for monthly challenges, so I'll talk about those ones. So the ones that I highly recommend for monthly challenges being 3-starred, 2 of them that I'm going to say right away that are similar but a little bit different are Yasuo and Ashe. So Yasuo and Ashe, when they get 3-starred, their power of freeze/stun goes to every turn. So it's round start of every turn instead of round start on every other turn. And that's a really big deal. Really, really, really big deal. It basically means that you can stall almost indefinitely with these champions against some of these early aggression decks. And because of that, it makes these 2 champions really strong. I think I would say Yasuo is maybe a little bit stronger, but Ashe is also, I'm sorry, yeah, so it should be way up here. But Ashe is also like super, super strong. So these are two that I highly, highly recommend that if you're doing monthlies, get them to 3 stars, because having their powers pop every turn instead of every second turn is a big deal for monthlies. And it is just generally a really, really good upgrade. So it's good for everything, but it's also really good for upgrades, for monthlies. The other ones that I do highly recommend are, I mean, Diana is already kind of nuts, but when you upgrade her fully, she goes to double. Quick attack becomes double attack. We'll just pull it up. So yeah, so if I already have quick attack, grant me double attack instead. That is kind of insane, especially on her. I do feel a little bit that it is kind of like a win more. Like you definitely do not need 3-star Diana for Asol. 2-star Diana is just fine. But for some of the monthlies, it's just some added security because the double attack does get kind of insane. So Diana is one that I would consider as well. Jinx, also, it's a pretty big upgrade. I'm trying to remember if it's the, I think it's the Nexus hit. Yeah, I can't remember. I know the 2-star is you hit one of those, one or the other, the enemy or the Nexus, and then when you're 3 stars, you hit both. You hit the Nexus and the enemy whenever you play a card, and when you discard. So when you discard, you're hitting them for 2, for both. That's actually a really big upgrade. It does help a lot for the monthlies, because a lot of the monthlies don't have like a ton of HP. They're like 40-ish. So it really does chunk them down pretty quick. Especially when you combo her with Payload. Because you're basically hitting face for 2 times all your cards. If you do this build where you do Dreadways first, Payload second, you're getting 2 extra cards that become Pow Pows. So you're hitting for even more to the face. This can easily do like 20 damage to face just alone when you summon, like just summon Jinx and you do 20 to face. It's a big deal. So Jinx is one that, even though like just like Diana, she's kind of insane at 2 stars, like she actually does get like a huge bump at 3, so I do kind of recommend her as well. And then there's some that are just, the champion just becomes a lot better at 3 stars because they do what they normally do, but they do it better. So Evelynn is a good example of this. So Evelynn at 2 stars, when you level up a champion, all allies everywhere get +1/+1. And then when you level her, when you start her to 3, all champions get +2/+2, and that just makes what she already does even better. And there's a lot of champs that are like that, and like some that are very like noticeable. Evelynn is one of them. The +2/+2 is kind of like a really big deal. I find that. Sorry, I went too far back. I find Garen is also one as well. Because his is when an ally strikes, grant it +2/+2 instead of +1/+1. That's also like really big. Another one is Tahm Kench. He's also another one of these where it goes from +1/+1 to +2/+2. That's also really big. It also, this the 3-star is really funny on self-damaging units like his Krusty Codger, Boxtopus, and especially funny on the Lounging Lizard. Another one that is kind of like on a similar note, I would actually say Lee Sin. So Lee Sin is actually one that I do like on 3 stars because on 2 stars, when you play 2 spells in a round, your strongest ally gets +4/+4, and you would think that's big enough, but once you actually get to like Aurelion Sol and to the monthlies, +4/+4 is actually not necessarily big enough. +8/+8. Again, it's just, it does what Lee Sin wants to do, but it does it just better, like a lot better. And +8/+8 is very noticeably different. Like, you will actually feel a huge difference when you're doing that. Let me see if there's someone else that I would say is kind of like along the same lines. So Pyke also does kind of the same thing. As you can see, I do not have him at 3 stars. So he goes from Mariner's Ruse on 2 allies to Mariner's Ruse on 4. and then at the beginning of the game, and then 2 on each turn. You know, it does literally do what he does better. It's just he's not a super strong champion. He's not really toolboxy for monthlies either, so I haven't bothered leveling him. But yeah, he kind of does fall along the same category where he does what he's supposed to do just much better, but I mean, it still doesn't elevate him to a very high status, in my opinion. Okay, other ones that I do recommend at 3-star. Oh, actually, MF. MF kind of falls along the same category because she's also one that the monkeys, instead of every second turn, are every turn. So that also is just her, but better. MF is one that I recommend as well. Oh, Illaoi. So when allies attack spawn 3, it's actually kind of a big deal because so her 2-star is spawn 1, but once you get to spawn 3, when you put Gale Force on her, you're basically making 6 tentacles in a round, and that means that she levels. So it creates this build where you do Gale Force plus Crown Guards. So you use the Gale Force, you attack, you make the 3 tentacles, you attack again, you make 3 more, that's 6. At this point she levels, so you now actually have another attack because of Crown Guard, and you probably win at this point. And it's really hard to do this with the 2-star when you only make 1 tentacle. So for this specific build, the 3-star is a big deal. Now, you know, having said that, I don't necessarily say that Illaoi is a must 3-star, but it opens up this build that just OTKs. So it's kind of cool. Who else would I say? Oh, okay. So just decks that get better, Taliyah. So the reason for that is because they give her something that isn't really a Taliyah thing. So, yeah. Allies have +1/+1 and Overwhelm. I mean, so at 2 stars, allies do not get the Overwhelm. You're literally getting free Overwhelm on everyone on 3 stars. And, like, that's really good for Taliyah once she levels because now her 2+2+2 damage that she does initially is going to be, like, hitting Nexus. It's really big. Them not being able to chump Taliyah is a big deal. And even just other stuff in the deck not being able to get chumped is a big deal. So Taliyah just gets better, even though this has like nothing to do with what she really does, but she just gets so much better that it's one that I do recommend. And it really does bring Taliyah from like a mid-tier to above average. Like I would actually even argue like below mid-tier. Darius, I do remember, does, yeah. I think it's the 2 stars +2. Is that right? I can actually check it. Darius star power. Yeah. So Darius at 3 stars is a big deal because of the Overwhelm. Because before that you get the +2, but you don't get the Overwhelm. So the Overwhelm is kind of a big deal. So Darius actually does get a pretty good boost there. Actually, I can probably just like scroll through this as well. Okay, and then the last one that I kind of wanted to mention is these new champions. So Jack, Samira, and Set. They all gave them these really cool things on 3 stars. So Jack gets to deal 1 damage to everyone, or all enemies, when you refill mana. And his deck is about refilling mana, so it's really cool. Samira is kind of like, she does what she does, but better. So basically, whenever you do damage, instead of reducing by 1, your next card is reduced by 3. It is pretty sweet. It is pretty nice. And then Set is huge upgrade because not only does his spend 6 mana buff get higher, but if you spend 12 mana, you rally. And this is not hard to do with Set. Like, Set is a coin machine, so that is not hard to do. Oh, another one that's kind of important, but not like completely essential, is Teemo. So Teemo, like, your normal build is Gale Force, Gatebreaker, and if you have him at 3 stars, it does actually take 1 less proc to level the Teemo. And that's kind of a big deal because 1 less proc means that you're doubling 1 activation faster. So basically, it means that you're basically, at any given time, you basically have double the shrooms that you would have had otherwise. Now, having said that, Teemo, even without 3 stars, can beat Aesop pretty easily. So you don't have to have that, but yeah, it does essentially double the shrooms in the deck at any given time, so it is kind of really good. Other ones that I would recommend, so Varus, very fun. I don't know, again, if it's 100% necessary, but it's a very fun one. You can really abuse it with Chemtech. Veigar. So before you 3-star the Veigar, you basically have to use Archangel's Staff to refill mana. And when you get him to 3-star, because your darknesses are free, it means, essentially what it does is it opens up a relic slot for you. A rare relic slot. So it's kind of fun that way. I mean, there isn't really that many relics that you need on Veigar. You could put a Chemtech on him. That's kind of a bit memey, but you can. I mean, it's pretty fun. So yeah, the 3-star Veigar, you kind of think of it as it opens up a relic slot rather than it actually gives you something, is the best way I could describe it. I think that's it. Like, the other ones, I'll show you my guys. You know, I kind of left these ones at the end because I don't think that they're like huge upgrades. Like the Thresh, everything getting keywords when stuff dies, it's okay. He's a bad champion and he gets mildly better, so who cares? Vayne, the equipment, what's it called? Why am I blanking? Spatula. The spatula gets a keyword. Again, it's okay, but it's not super special. Oh, that's too far back. Yuumi, you get double of Fated. So the Fated basically gives you +2/+2 instead of... Here it is. The Fated gives you +2/+2 instead of +1/+1. This is actually a really good thing, and I think I'm like pretty sure this new Yuumi is going to be the next one that I 3-star, because that is actually a big deal. Again, it's just doing what she normally does, but better, and significantly better, so it's pretty good. Nasus gives you the Sun Disc. Do not waste your star fragments on Nasus. Like, he should be the last one you 3-star. Nami, her 4th spell will... is it free or double casted? I actually don't remember. It's double casted. I mean, it's okay. It's not necessary. She does what she does just fine without it. It doesn't really add that much to her. Bard is double keywords. Again, it's okay. It's nothing too special. Annie's pretty good, actually. Annie's pretty good at 3 stars, because you basically are getting an extra Ludens. So, I mean, yeah, if you like Annie, I would recommend it. It's not the most important to 3-star, but it's an option. Gwen is... Oh yeah, Gwen also is one of those ones where she just does what she does better, because now she gets a Ghastly ban every turn. So Gwen is actually someone that I do recommend you 3-star. Yeah. I would do her over like maybe a Tahm Kench, because she's kind of in that same category, but she's even better for getting the Ghastly bans every turn. Jax, I think he was like one of the last ones that I've just 3-starred, so I haven't even played with his 3-star that much, but I mean, he basically is getting more stats, which is what you want. It's just he's pretty good without it, so it's not super necessary. He's not super toolboxy either. Jhin, I think Jhin, the captive audience goes to 0, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so the captive audience goes to 0. That is actually really important. So Jhin is someone that I do actually recommend that you 3-star as well. Kai'Sa, I'm trying to remember what she did. Was it +1/+1 before? No. It's okay. So you get a keyword every turn instead of every second turn. Yeah. So yeah. So she does what she does better, but it's not like super crazy good, but it's okay. Kai'Sa's not a high priority to 3-star, I would say. Kayn, I actually don't even remember what Kayn's 3+2/+2 and heal. Oh yeah, I believe at 1 to 2 stars he doesn't heal to full. I think he heals it for like a little bit. Yeah, he heals it +1/+1 and heal it too. So Kayn is like meh. You don't need to 3-star him. That would be one of the later choices, I would say. Oh, Lux. Lux is very good at 3 stars. Because her it's her Aegis becomes 0, right? Or am I thinking of the wrong thing? No, it's actually no. Actually, Lux is kind of mid to 3-star because she already refills spell mana, so she basically refills unit mana. Yeah, Lux is not the most important thing to 3-star. Even at 2 stars, she's the 3-starring her is just minimal improvement, honestly. Sorry, I lied. You don't need to 3-star Lux. Ornn is poo-poo. Don't waste fragments on him. We talked about these ones. We talked about these ones. Vi is doesn't matter. Yeah, Vi is not that important to 3-star either. And then these ones that I haven't had, like the Aatrox, it gets better, but it's not important. Echo, you get +2/+2 in predictions. Meh, it's okay. Elise is kind of fun because your spiders are gonna get keywords that she has, so it's actually pretty good. This is also one that I want to do soon. Gnar, you get double impact. It doesn't really matter. Kindred, your praise do 2 damage instead of 1. It doesn't matter. LeBlanc, your the buff spell, what's it called? Sharpen Resolve becomes 0 mana. I mean, it's a really good upgrade, but she's already so busted. It's not necessary, but it is a very good upgrade for her. But it's just not necessary. Leona, I don't know. Basically, instead of allies have Daybreak grant me +1/+1, they get, whenever you activate a Daybreak, grant them +1/+1. I mean, it is pretty good. I haven't played this one, so I don't really know how to evaluate it that well. I don't know. I didn't care that much about it. Yi is busted even at 2 stars. You don't need... His 3-star is just an extra buff on flow, which is totally unnecessary. So don't even bother with Yi. You can do him later. And then the rest we talked about. No, that's it. All right. So there you go. We talked about every champion. Yeah, the first ones I would definitely recommend: Yasuo, Ashe, and then a lot of those ones, like I mentioned, the ones that do what they do but better. And Talia is another one, just because she actually does feel a lot stronger on 3 stars. There you go. Alrighty.